Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to another Club 100 karting video. We're at Shenington, and the first thing I need to do is apologise about the camera. I was using a different GoPro, and yeah, it didn't work, and I only realised once I put the videos onto my computer. So yeah, we'll be back to the old GoPro instead of being able to see the inside of the camera or whatever's going on. It is Shenington, which means that this race is going to be awful, and the reason for that is, one, I don't think I'm particularly great at Shenington, and secondly, Shenington is a track that has like 4 corners on it and massive long straights, so kart parity is dreadful, as you'll see. But I'll try to keep this as positive as possible and as non-ranty as possible. So here we go, we're starting the race from 6th on the grid. We're on the outside, but this is one of the circuits where you can be on the outside. We go through turn 1, and there's a bit of contact because people are braking through the opening corner for some reason. I'll go over that a little bit more later on in the race, exactly what happened through that opening corner. But we've gained a position, and Jack O'Neill's going to go a little bit defensive into this hairpin. I'm going to do the same thing. Someone tries to go around the outside, but we are up into 5th place, and that's great for the opening lap. We've gained 1 position. Now I just need to try to keep my head down and follow Jack through the field, really. I hadn't done endurance earlier on in the day, but as you guys are very quickly going to notice, 1, because it's really obvious, 2, because I'm going to keep on harping on about it like non-stop throughout this this video, is my car is awful. And you'll see everyone coming out of every single corner, no matter if I go faster than them through the corner or not, you'll just see their car just like disappear into the distance and become really, really small. But then again, my consistency wasn't great. I probably could have driven better, but at the time, yeah, I wasn't thinking that. I was just really annoyed. Shenington's it's always been very frustrating for me. I've only been here once before in Club 100. I've been here once before in BPEC. BPEC, pace was really good. Yeah, but just been struggling a little bit in Club 100 for this last year. And this year I've been better in general, as a driver, racecraft, pace, all of that. So yeah, we get a nice exit coming out of the final corner. And bye-bye, Jack. Was nice to be near you for like half a second. Yeah, we lost about 2 kart lengths there on the straight, so I would just like to put this out there, right? That this, I'll give the spoilers right now. This was hands down my worst result of the season, but I'm going to be honest, like, the fact that I didn't finish outside of the top 10 considering this car is, I mean, look, just look at that. But yeah, so I knew it was going to be a really hard race, pretty much from this point, because I could see just how much Jack was pulling from me, and I was like, okay, well, what can I do here, right? Because when you're in the car, you've got to think, how do you approach this race? And all I was thinking about was, what's the damage limitation? Just keep on putting in the laps and see what comes my way. Don't try to overdrive the kart. Just do the absolute most that is possible for me, right? Because if I don't make mistakes, that's how, you know, I can get big points and secure second in the championship. And then I'm going to bring this one up because Jack goes up the inside of Josh, and Josh spins. Now, Jack got a penalty for that, and I've got nothing against Josh, but Josh, that was your own fault. I remember seeing the penalty coming up on the board. I was like, at the time, I was like, oh, free position, I'll take that. And then when I went over the start-finish line at the end of the lap, I saw that Jack got a penalty, and I had 2 reactions. My first reaction was, how the hell did Jack get a penalty for that? And then the second reaction was, ooh, another position, yay, I'll take that. So at this point, I was like, guys, I'm in 3rd. And I think I saw at some point that the driver who's in 2nd also had a penalty. So I was like, okay, I'm 4th on the road, but I'm going to be 2nd after penalty. So all I've got to do is keep it clean, right? Try to stick to the back of Jack as much as possible. And hey, it's Shenington. Slipstream's insane here, but yeah, my kart, like, Slipstream wasn't in my kart's vocabulary almost as much as engine power wasn't in its vocabulary. So very quickly, Jack started to pull away. In fact, I say very quickly, he's gone. He's checked out. So I was like, right, what do I do? I'm going to make myself a nice cuppa, and I'm just going to be really boring for ages and just put in lots and lots of laps and skipping forward about 12 laps. I was kind of doing consistent 53 zeros, 53 ones. I started going defensive because two more drivers caught up to me. I think it was Nicolas Lacasas, who was directly behind me. And I was thinking of continuing to put my laps in, but yeah, Nick just goes flying past me. Andrew Graham follows through as well, and I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake, what do? So I was like, okay, I've lost 2 positions. Right, don't do anything crazy. I'm going to let these 2 battle and try to get back through. So I try to go up the inside of Andrew because Andrew is my championship rival. So part of me is thinking, yeah, I could fight for 4th, and then I gain the 2 places to get up to 2nd. But I'm also thinking, as long as I finish ahead of Andrew, that's good for the championship. So I was in 2 minds. Like, part of me wanted to play the championship game, part of me wanted to play the race game. As it so turns out, it worked both ways. And I was thinking, right, I want to get back ahead of Nick and then defend, because I didn't feel like I had the pace to stick with Nick. Like, as you can see there, Nick just paused. So I kind of felt like if I tried to stay in the toe of Nick, I wouldn't actually be able to get back past him. So you can see Andrew's trying to go up my inside now on the outside, and I'm just about able to hold on to the position. But yeah, I was thinking less about working with Nick and more about I need to get back ahead, and then I need to start defending, and I need to defend hard, because I tried to defend into that hairpin before. I parked it on the apex, but the issue is with this car you can't defend, because if I defend, I come out of the corners really, really slowly, and if I come out of the corner really, really slowly, I'm just going to get destroyed on the straight. So I can't defend, and I can't defend by defending, and if I don't defend, well, everyone's got the engine power to go up my inside because it's Shenington. So I was in a really, really tricky spot, and I didn't know what to do, because I hadn't really thought about this before the race, and I now put in one of my best laps of the day, really, which is a 52.6, because Andrew Graham behind me was very smart. He started pushing me along, and as a result of that, I was able to catch up to Nick, because I think Andrew realised, right, if he battles with me, he's going to lose loads of time. He knew that I've got a bad car, so he just thought, I'll just push Yusuf along, catch up to Nick, and then once we caught up to Nick, go for both positions. At least that's what I'm guessing Andrew was thinking. He might not have been thinking that. He might have just been like, you know, I was just going to be like, oh, you know, maybe he was just thinking, I'm just going to push this car for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, this helped me get a really good lap in, and you can see just how much I've caught up to Nick, because Nick has been making mistakes on this lap, and that was giving me confidence. And I was just thinking, right, okay, I don't really have the car to go for this, but if Nick makes more mistakes, maybe I can go for something. But this car just did not have the bottom end, it did not have the mid end, it did not have the top end. Honestly, this car just wanted to go to sleep. I'd make other comments about what this car wanted to do, but then my videos might get demonetized for talking about certain topics that YouTube doesn't like. But anyway, we go into the, I think it's called the Bruno chicane, and yeah, I'm still just trying to get my head down, trying to get as close as possible to Nick. And Shenington is this circuit that's got amazing slipstream. Like, you can gain like 3 kart lengths sort of straight, unless you're in my kart, and then you'll be lucky if you if you only lose half a kart then. But oh, hello Andrew. I don't even know how he got. Oh, I know how he got past. He pressed his accelerator, and I pressed my accelerator. I've probably got a bad run out there. I don't even know. It didn't even look that bad, and then the next thing I know, Andrew's gotten past me. Like, I'm sorry. I can't take this video seriously, because if I take this video seriously, I'm going to cry about how sad I am about my go-kart. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to take the complete piss out of this video, because that's my coping mechanism. Bye, Andrew. Bye. Oh, that's cool. I'll just like everyone to know that at the start of that straight, I was closer to Andrew than Andrew was to Nick, so I should have had more slipstream than him, but yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. I'm smiling. I'm happy. But anyway, so I'll at this point I was thinking, right, okay, Andrew and Nick, they might fight together. So that could be a really good opportunity for me if they fight, because at the same time, while I want to cry about the car, I need to think about this as well. Like, what can I learn? Right? I always say in my videos, right, if something goes wrong, what can I learn from it? And to be honest, from Shenington, I can learn absolutely nothing. But that's the wrong mindset to have. So let's be good guys, right? Let's think about this logically. To be honest, this first race, I think I actually drove it quite well. The second race was just bad because I was really frustrated by that point. But more about that once we get into race 2. You won't believe this, but the car got even worse. So Andrew goes up the inside of Mr. Lacasas, and I follow through it. I'm like, yay, I've gained a position. And then I'm like, oh no, my championship leader's ahead. So at this point, there was time left in the race, like 10 minutes, and I thought, right, I need to stick with Andrew. Andrew's a quick driver, and he's got an okay car. I'm a good driver, and I've got a terrible car. So I need to absolutely nail every single lap. Like, I cannot make mistakes, because if I make a mistake, Andrew's going to pull from me, I'm not going to have any slipstream, and I'm going to fall back. Like, if I can stay here in the slipstream of Andrew, he can pull me along. Like, my car still won't be faster than his with the slipstream, but it will mean that I'm close enough to stick with him through another corner. And there you can see, he's pulling from me on the goddamn straight. Anyone who's driven at Shenington, right, you'll know just how big the slipstream is, and you'll know just how stupid, like, what you just witnessed is. But I'd accepted that by this point. And in my head, I was like, that's fine. I can't do anything. I remembered Rizzington, where I had a bad car and I was able to climb through the order. So I stuck behind Andrew for like 10 laps. And I was like proud of myself. I was like, Yusuf, like, this is damn good. Like, this is a good drive. So with a couple of laps left, I realized I need to nail a lap and I need to go for the move on Andrew. I had a couple of opportunities before to go for a move, but I didn't want to start fighting with Andrew in case Nick caught back up. So I was just thinking, right, if I get past Andrew, I'm back into P4 and 2 drivers ahead have penalties, so I'll be up to P2 and I can still win like the overall event. So I was actually quite positive on this lap, and I genuinely believed I could overtake Andrew. And even if I couldn't, I knew 2 others had penalties, so I'd still get 3rd from this race. So I was like, okay, this is good. Just hook up the lap. No, do not make a mistake. And so far this lap has been okay. I wish I had been closer so I could go for a send, because I didn't want to do it on the last lap, because I knew Andrew would defend on the last lap. So I wanted to do it on this lap, but I was just too far behind. But I get a good run coming out of the final corner. I'm like, right, I'm on his bumper. I need to go for the move into this left hand, and I'm right on him, and then I just go for a move, but it's not quite on. Andrew covered off the inside. I end up going into the back of him. In another race, I might have like yielded, but I was like, I don't care. I'm in a bad car. I've got to go for it. Like, I've got to take everything I've got, which is probably the wrong mindset. I get a good run. I try to go for the switchback, but it's just not good enough to stay alongside. Andrew very fairly leaves me room, and now I'm on the outside again. I'm going to try to look to get that switchback, but stupidly, I pull out of the slipstream. I don't have to drive, and as a result, when I go back into the slipstream, I'm just falling back. If I'd stayed in the slipstream from the get-go, I might have been able to have a go at him. So I try to get a nice wide line, but the inside is covered off by Mr. Graham, and that's it. I end up finishing this race down in P5. So I wasn't too disappointed, and it was like, okay, fine, fun race, blah blah blah. We'll take it. But then as we move on into the next race, I was starting down in 9th place. And the reason why I was starting down in 9th place is because I had a 4-place penalty in the previous race. And I had no idea what it was for until I looked back at my footage and I realized I got it on the race start for this contact with Nick. And you can watch it again. We go through turn 1, I tap the back of him, and Nick goes wide. And to be honest, probably most people will look at that and say it's a penalty. I mean, everyone just calls me a dirty driver at this point, so, you know, what the hell. Yeah, I see why I got given a penalty, but I'm not going to change how I drive, because, no offense, if you're doing the race start at Shenington and you're starting at the front and you're slowing down for turn 1, that's on you. Like, I don't think there's any reason to slow down into turn 1 when you're doing a rolling start and you're not going flat out into the corner. So it caught me off. You can see on the footage that I lifted when I noticed that they were slowing. I'm not going to jam on the brakes going into a flat out corner. So as a result, there are incidents that I get where, oh, actually, hang on, this race start. Look at this. I press the accelerator and, the driver in front of me pulls away. But here we go. I decided to do something really fun for this race. I was going to go round the outside of turn 2 because I thought, why not? My day's going terribly. And yeah, obviously that doesn't work. This is why you don't go around the outside, kids, because it's not going to work. So I've lost a couple of positions, but going back to that incident with Mr. Lacasas, I get some incidents where I'm like, okay, I can learn from that. If I don't do this, I will get a penalty. But with that, I'm not changing my driving at all, because if I change my driving to prevent something like that from happening, I'm just going to become a bad driver. And I think those are situations where you should be keeping your foot in. And yeah, I'm just putting that down as a racing incident. But I make this 3 abreast as I go up the inside. The door was open, so I was like, I'll just go for it. And maybe a little bit cheeky, but it is what it is. We're then side by side into the left hand. I'm going to hang it around the outside. I've got the inside for the right. Do I get the drive? Well, not quite, but we are still... No, we're not in contention. Not even slightly. So I genuinely don't know what position I was in at this point, but I was thinking, right, I need to get past the driver in front of me. I need to get past Josh Wood and try to hunt down... I think it's the top 6 or the top 5. So at this point in the race, I hadn't realised that this kart was awful as well. And I was still kind of telling myself I can win this race. So I was just trying to get my head down as much as I could. But yeah, as you can see, this car isn't it either, Chief. So it was a case, just like in the previous race, of doing the best that I could, but I think because I didn't realise how bad the kart was at the start of this race, I kept telling myself that I should be fighting, as that is... Okay, Josh, that time, that was not on you. I'll take back any criticism whatsoever. You got done dirty in that corner, but hey, I'll take it because I gained a position. And now I was thinking, right, let's sit behind Josh. I'll go for a move when possible. But I think one of my issues in this race was because I didn't realise how bad the kart was. I kept trying to overdrive, and I drove as if I had a good kart, which I didn't. Which meant that I approached battles with drivers in a different way to what I would if I had a bad car, which I did. So I'll go over exactly what I was like kind of thinking and why I was doing those things as I get an awful run through turns 1 and 2. Which is actually a little bit of why I'm so annoyed at the day, because I'm not too annoyed by like having bad luck with the karts, but I think I could have driven a lot better as well, and limited the damage somewhat, but I didn't. To be fair though, with this kart, unlike my first kart, the top end of this kart was alright, which meant that if I could stay within a kart length or so of the driver in front, I could really go for a move. And I got an okay run out of the chicane, which means I go up the inside of Josh, heading into the hairpin, and then I just get bumped. I just get punted, and I almost lose 2 positions. I think I do lose 2 positions as Greg Smith goes past and Josh, and I was really pissed off. Like, my day was going badly, and when I got punted, I was just like swearing under my helmet, because the same thing happened last year at Shenington as well in sprints, and that really annoyed me when I had a bad car. So I was like, okay, Greg, I see how it is. You're just going to punt me into the corner. And I get a penalty for a lap 1 incident when someone slows down through a flat out corner. Meanwhile, I get punted and pretty much lose 2 positions. There's no penalty for that. But that's my rant over. That's like my actual rant over. And Greg's saying, let's work together. And I remember in my helmet at this point, I literally laughed and said, in your absolute dreams, mate. Not a slim chance in hell am I going to work with you after you punted me wide into the hairpin? So that's all that was in my head at that point. And now that I got back through, I was like, right, heads down, pull away, try to catch up to the two ahead, which, yeah, I couldn't really do. And then going into the hairpin this time, Greg pulls off. This time, a very clean move. Can't complain about that whatsoever. Really good move from Greg. But I was still annoyed because of that previous incident, and I was just annoyed about the whole day in general, not thinking straight. And as a result, I was like, right, I need to get back past. So I wanted to get through. I think Greg kind of knew that I wanted to, so he defended. So at this point, there was no trust between us whatsoever. There was going to be no working together. I get a good exit coming out of the hairpin. We kind of gesticulate at each other somewhat, and I retake the position. I'm like, haha, suck that. Because I was just at the point, like, after the punt, I was like, no, you're working with me, you're pushing me, and that's it. But then going into this right-hander, as I turn in, I think I get another punt from behind, and it was just really annoying me because I had to carry speed through the corner because my kart was bad. So I was trying to brake early, carry the speed, and then I'm getting punted. And I could understand if you were behind me on one lap and you hit my rear end because you got caught up. But when you're behind me lap after lap after lap, and you can see, by the way, this isn't directed at Greg, this is just directed in general. But when you can see where I'm braking every single lap, and every single lap you're tapping my rear end going into the corner, I mean, it's not difficult to realize where the driver you're racing with is braking and adapt your racing around them. Like, am I just the only driver who exists who brakes early when they're behind people? As you'll see in later footage, like, this guy gets past me here, and look at this. I brake early, so I don't go into the back of him. It's a miracle. And as a result, I get, like, not the best exit because I'm not that close to him, because, you know, I don't want to run the risk of rear-ending someone into a corner. But no, I'm the dirty driver. So, yes, I've lost another position, and the rants do continue. I'm sorry that you have to listen to this, but I couldn't really think of how else to do this video without sounding like a whiny person, but I am desperately trying my best. I get a good run. I would have pushed him along, but if I had pushed this driver, I would have lost all my momentum and I would have actually fallen further behind. So I had to go to the inside so that I could keep my momentum, and then once his kart got going and pulled past my kart, because his kart's better than mine, I could have then slotted in behind him like I'm doing now. I'm pushing him along, and watch this. I brake early. It's a miracle. How does he do it? Dirty driver, by the way. So I'm gonna stop. I don't know. But fast forwarding a bit to lap 21. Again, I was just sitting on the back of this guy, trying to push him along, trying to pull away from Greg because everyone up ahead was kind of gone. And as we go into the left-hander, going to the right, Greg pulls off another really good move. So, yeah, first one from Greg, but not there. 2 out of 10 move from Greg. But then his next two have been really solid. They've been 9 out of 10 moves. So I've got to give Greg that. But at the time, I was like, in my helmet, I was still really pissed off because of that first incident. But at this point, I was like, you know what? This is good, because I knew in my head, Greg's going to catch up to this guy because I'm going to push him along, right? Like, watch this. I'm going to push him. And I knew Greg was going to go for like a kamikaze banzai move to overtake the other guy, and I'd be able to follow him through. So I knew that this was going to happen, right? As soon as Greg got past me, I was like, I know exactly how this is going to unfold, and let's see if that happens. I've fallen so far back already on this straight. To be fair, I didn't get a good exit coming up the final corner, but it is what it is. So, coming out of turn 2, we get a really nice run. Oh, we're right on the back. We're going to push Greg along because we're now friends with Greg, because we want to help Greg. We're like giving him ammunition so he can fight with this guy, and then we're going to be like, yeah, sorry, you're not allowed to fight with this guy. We're going to take both positions. That's the kind of strat that we're using right now. So, again, giving Greg a little push heading into this corner. In fact, that time I might have pushed him a little bit late. He wasn't taking the curve, so that's his fault for slowing down too much into the corner. Yes, I Milky's hero, let him never outfall. But here goes Greg Smith. He's gonna go for the move. We knew it was coming. There's contact between them, and here comes Milky Cereal, who carries the speed. Thank you, Greg. Give me more slipstream. Come on, come on, come on. Is it going to be enough? It absolutely is enough, and we're going to gain the position. We've got 10 laps to go. So I was thinking, right, I need to stick on the back of Mr. Smith. That is the plan now, right? Stick on the back of Greg and try to pull away from the driver behind. And that is what I did. And now heading on to the final 3 laps of the race, I realized, okay, I can overtake him, because unlike in race 1, this car had top end, and because it had top end, that meant I could overtake. I didn't want to leave it to the last 2 laps because I knew Greg would probably defend at that point. So I went through on 3 laps to go. I kind of overshot the braking. So do I defend? I don't defend. I probably had a little look over my shoulder, saw that Greg wasn't close enough. And then at this point, I realized, right, I need to nail every corner. And after every single corner, I was looking behind me because I didn't have the car. So I needed to know, are they close enough to go for an overtake? If they're not close enough to go for an overtake, I take my racing line. If they are close enough, I have to defend, because I've done the move early, right? There's going to be 2 laps to go when we cross the line, so I can't afford to make a mistake. I have to defend as hard, as much as possible. So yeah, that's just how I was approaching the last couple of laps. Lewis Marchant, we were closing into him, but just not by enough. So he's still a couple of seconds ahead. Maybe if me and Greg weren't battling at the very start, we could have caught him, but it would have been a little bit hit and miss. So far, this lap has been okay. It's not been anything great. And then I think way too early of an apex through the Bruno chicane. I think I was just struggling to put in the consistent laps. And it got to a point where I had to start braking later into corners, which I'm not doing here, but I was covering the inside because the others were catching up. So I just wanted to dissuade them by taking a slightly tighter line. But that meant that I got a bad exit. And because I've got a bad exit, Greg is right on my back end. I knew he was going to go for the inside. So I turn in a little bit earlier going into this right-hander just to close the door. He's got to back out of the move. He ended up tapping my rear, which is fine, right? It happens because I changed my line and went in a little bit narrower into that corner. But I was clear. I was scot-free. And now there's a back marker as well. And I was thinking, right, if I can nail the Bruno chicane, I can get a slipstream from this back marker, which is going to help me to pull away from the 2 behind. And we've almost got it bang on. So I'm like, right, come on, give me the slipstream. This could literally save my race, and by save my race, it means I can get 7th, my worst result of the season. I think I got a little hit from behind actually going into the corner, or I outbraked myself, I don't know which. But we come over the line to not finish the race. I've got my lap times wrong, guys. This is the final lap, and there is Greg going up my inside. Sorry, I got the laps wrong. Oopsie daisies. This is the last lap. We've managed to hold the position. And yeah, now I've got to defend into the hairpin. Greg's on my outside, so I'm going to carry the speed. I'm going to go straight on over to the inside. No? Yes. I go defensive to stop Greg going for a move. And at this point, I'm like, right, there's only one more overtaking opportunity left. So as soon as I come out of the Bruno chicane, I'm going to go defensive. If you're going to overtake me, you've got to go around the outside. And look at that. Without even using slipstream, there's a yellow flag out. Technically, Greg was ahead of me at the yellow flag, but I'm on the inside, so you're backing out. I hold it tight, and I take the checkered flag in a glorious P7. What an incredible performance from Milky Cereal. P9 and P7 at Shenington. I absolutely hate this circuit with a burning passion. Please can we never go over there again, but never mind. It's on the 2025 calendar. So yeah, that brings an end to Shenington. It's a black screen now because I have no more footage, so you're just listening to my voice. But yeah, I have nothing else to say. Also, apparently in race 1, my kart was fine, I got told. JV told me that the kart was fine because I was within 2/10 of Jack O'Neill. So yeah, that kart was fine, guys. Copium. But that brings this race to a close. Thank you guys very much for watching. If my whining annoyed you, drop a like and subscribe, and we'll be back for more karting at Bockmore Park, where hopefully we've got a kart that's, you know, at least one kart that's not half a second a lap off the pace, and we can have a battle. But yeah, that brings this video to a close, and I'll see you all in the next one. Toodles! I just want to add a kind of post edit thing, because I know in the past when I've had some bad rounds and I've been a little bit ranty, it does come off on the wrong foot, and I do just want to be like really clear. I love racing in Club 100, and most of the time we get really good races. And for example, at Wilton Mill, I think we were quite lucky that me, Jack and Fraser, we all had 3 really good karts, and I'll leave the link to the Wilton Mill video in the comments, and we were able to have a good race. Same at Landau and other circuits. So I think it's just one of those that you get some good rounds where in those situations I'm going to praise the karts, I'm going to praise how it's been run, but then when we get the bad rounds like Shenington, I'm going to be honest and say that the karts, or whatever it is absolutely awful. So this video is in no way anything against Club 100 at all, because I still absolutely love racing in Club 100, and I still will always recommend for people to go and race in Club 100. But something you have to be prepared for is the fact that sometimes you get these rounds, and you got to take it on the chin, you got to take it as a learning experience, and kind of think, well, what goes around comes around, unless you milk your cereal, because in that case it just comes around and it never goes around. But yeah, no, I did just want to clarify that before I end the video, so it's not on a bad sour note. We'll be back there for Buckmore, and we're going to get 2 wins, and we're going to get our first round victory of the season. So it's going to happen. You heard it here first.